Hi everyone, Terry here. Today I have a very important guest. He's my OB, we were in school together. We both did arts. Although we were in different years, he was a year above me at King's College, Budo. So today I give you Mr. Kato Mpanga Christopher. Kato, say hi to the people.
Hello, and thank you for having me on this channel, Terry.
Welcome to Simply Legal. We are thrilled to have you here. Today we're doing a different kind of thing. We're doing a Zoom meeting, and today's topic is basically about how to go through law school. Because me and you have done law school in two different dimensions. You've done law school in the UK. I've done law school here in Uganda. So, Mr. Kato, that people want to hear from you, and they want to know exactly how to go through law school, because there are many course units. Some may not even know exactly how to start with law school, how to go through the stress they're worried about, all the rumors they hear about law school, that it's hard. So maybe you could tell us a thing or two about law school.
Well, sadly, as you know, that law school is divided into different sectors. We've got the undergrad, we've got the LDC, which they call LPC here. We've got masters, which thankfully I've been through all of those stages, and of course we've got the PhD and all. But the key thing for me, firstly with law schools, the two key points for me, like you asked me to say, is one, you have to be bold, you have to be courageous. That's for me the first thing.
Yes.
And second, having been bold, then you need to do all it takes to get what you want. So those are the first two key points, but as we go on, we'll certainly discuss further.
Okay. So the question that people on the channel want to ask is that, what is law school? What is law school all about? How do they go about law school? And most importantly, how do they start? Because people, personally, when I was entering law school, everyone would tell me you can't even pass through first year, you can't even pass through second year, but we did it. So people maybe want to hear from you how to even get started. How do they get over that fear? How do they go through it and remain unbiased about it? Maybe that's the first question I should ask you.
Yeah, thank you, Terry, for that question. Now, having built on the first 2 points of being bold and being ready to do what it takes to get through law school, one of the important things that I have discovered and learned throughout academia is that past papers are incredibly important things to go by. My own strategy through law school is that, for example, if I got a contract law exam, look at the past 3 to 5 past papers in contract law, study the pattern, then identify the questions that you want to do, prepare for them, and if you want, you can consult your lecturers, get the answers to them. Because when you get a question, I've got a friend of mine who went to the University of Oxford, right from Oxford Brookes, and when I was consulting him, he told me, get the question, do it, take it to your lecturer and ask them, is this what you want? What advice would you give? And then when you get to learn, because at the end of the day, it is the lecturer who's going to mark your exam. So when you identify those past paper questions and work with them and carry along your revision, perhaps with the support of your lecturer, that will be very helpful, because past papers questions always come back. You just have to learn how to approach those questions, much as they could be tweaked. Now, this cuts across undergrad, masters, LPC, also, or LDC. LPC here is legal practice course, LDC in Uganda is law development center. So past papers is very, very important. But the other point, building on what we've said, is teams, building teams. And I think this is a very common argument in Uganda is that, and my career students are very good at this, working with people who are better than you. But also, not just who are better than you, but you also have to bring something to the table. When, for example, you read a topic in land law, it's best both of you have read the topic, then you come and bring your brains together. I've got a good friend of mine, from he lives in Dubai. So we used to discuss and even disagree on some things, and we go with different answers, and that's what the law is about. You can't always have the same thing. So those 2 extra points, past papers and discussion groups, whilst you're prepared. You don't be a leech just getting information from someone else.
Yes.
Have all the information, come and discuss the ideas, then that will help in terms of the academic bit of it.
Okay. Then another question, because I've always gotten questions from the comment section about how to go through law school. Now that you've explained to us exactly how to go through law school, some people want to understand. They're always scared of Penal Code Act. They're always scared of constitutional law. They think that these things are so bulky and major that they don't even know what they are. Maybe you could explain to us some of the course units in law school.
Thank you for that, Terry. Regarding the course units, I'm not quite very familiar with the course units in Uganda, but getting straight to the point is that, for example, in first year, I did contract law, I did tort law, I did, public law. I can't certainly remember everything at this point in time, but in second year, if I remember, I did employment law. That was an optional module. I did immigration law. And so generally in first year, there are some mandatory modules that one has got to do. For example, tort, contract, so in second year, then you can have some options. No, in third year, actually, you can have some options. I think even second year, because partly you do one option in second year, you do the other. And of course, one of the things I did in third year was international human rights law. And thankfully, I did a dissertation on Uganda, which I got an S in. But coming to, where to practice and all that, it really depends on where one wants to practice. My own philosophy about if you want to practice in Uganda, the way I see it as of now, and of course this is change, it is better if you want to practice in Uganda. It is better to do your undergraduate in Uganda and perhaps get 1 year's experience, in the field, then do your master's in the United Kingdom, for example. Because then you have actually after your undergrad in Uganda, it's better to do the LDC in Uganda, get some experience, then so that you can know what kind of master's degree that you want to do, what you're interested in. So then you can do that for a year in the United Kingdom, then go back. So the upside of that is that you don't waste a lot of time and resources, like I'm going to briefly explain. Now, the downside of doing your undergrad in Uganda is that you're going to, do your 3-4 years in the United Kingdom, and you want to practice in Uganda. You might go through law council requiring you to do some modules which you haven't studied. And you might have to do law council might require you to do some modules before you do the LDC, and that could take a bit of time. Yes, so that could take a bit of time, and your own understanding of the local law in Uganda might be a struggle because it is in a different jurisdiction. But the upside to that is that you have more time to get exposed, more time to work perhaps with top-notch technology and so on and so forth. But precisely, there is a Chevening scholarship, there is a Equity and Merit scholarship, University of Manchester, for those who are interested in applying for scholarships. Those are the main ones that I know. There could be others. Yeah, but if you want to practice in the UK, absolutely. You need to, study most of your stuff in the UK. But of course, jurisdiction has got its own challenges. But that's precisely what I could say.
So, just to dilute the seriousness of law school, people want to know the fun fact about it. So, a lot of people used to ask me, how did I go through law school and have fun at the same time? Personally, what I advise students is that it's important to balance out your life, because you cannot go through law school without having fun at the same time. Everyone thinks law school is so jam-packed. You have to do this, you have to do this. I have criminal tests coming up, I have civil law, I have this coming up, and they don't really get to know the other side of passing, because as is the common saying we used to have when we were children, that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So the moment you find yourself anywhere, viewers, if you either find yourself in University of Manchester, or you find yourself in Uganda Christian University or Makerere Law School, always ensure that you have fun at the end of the day, because life is too short. Because if you ever find yourself in a very serious environment and you never have fun at any one point, then you can actually crash and burn. It's what we call burnout. So in most cases, people don't get to realize the fun. Personally, here in Uganda, I don't know, this may be something the viewers may not want to hear, but I had a negligence and strict liability exam, and the previous night I went out. I had read the entire semester, but I felt like I had a burnout and I wanted to have a bit of fun, and I go back to the exam when I'm really refreshed. So personally, I think it's important to balance out your life. Yeah, maybe Kato, you can maybe tell us.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Terry. Mental health and well-being is incredibly important for any law student. But even before I get to that, let me just chip in this point. As I said, you have to be bold to do law school. My own philosophy about law school is that if you're doing something easy, there is a problem. If something is too easy, whenever I'm doing all the exams that I've done and they've been too easy, I've almost failed them with like a 50% in them. Whereas if the exam is challenging, or if the coursework is challenging, it gets to that peak when it's challenging, then you know you're doing the right thing. So one of the, perhaps the mindsets that we need to have with law school is, it is hard, but you've got to be bold to do it. And when it's hard, it's good, because then you're most likely doing the right thing. But getting back to the mental health and well-being, for me, my way around law school, which I got to discover around second year, have enough sleep. 8 hours of sleep, 9 hours, 10 hours. It's really worked for me. The more I slept, the better I slept, the better I performed. Whereas in first year, I used to work late in the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And my results, statistically weren't as good as compared to when I've had more sleep. I was doing my master's at LPC same time, and towards the end of my undergrad. So sleep is incredible, especially deep sleep. The birds are probably saying yes, certifying the answer. So sleep is very important, but life has got to be balanced. It's very, very important to live a balanced life. For example, my sort of life is not that interesting because I used to play ground hockey, and I don't do that as much. But I do some exercising. I usually, I have a YouTube channel, so at times I also write articles in the news, spend time with family, have conversations, like this one we're having, and so on. So it's important because at the end of the day, life is not about law school. It's about family, about pursuing your passions and interests, about going out, with your friends, and that balance is incredibly important. It's just the priority. If it's exam time, then that might not be a priority. Like you said, if you feel you need to have a break, go ahead and have it. So precisely, there needs to be a balance. And talk to the friend. There is a Les Brown who says, ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you need to be made stronger. So it's important, if you're facing challenges, talk to your friends, seek help, ask for help. Don't just die alone, because we're in this together.
Then, a number of people I was with in law school, actually, I'm going to be extremely straightforward. A lot of people in law school that I was with, they fell off along the way. Many of them got into drug addictions like weed. Many of them got into alcohol addictions. Many of them fell out of law school. Some even died along the way. So in my 4-year journey, I actually witnessed and experienced a lot of things. I want you to expound a bit more on mental health maybe you can tell us a few examples of challenges that, of maybe friends you might have had maybe in the UK. Then I can also give my example. But the mental health issue is extremely important, and most of the viewers want to know about this because we have always had physical sickness, but in our generation as millennials, we now have the biggest battle being mental health issues. So maybe, Mr. Katu, maybe you can tell us extremely more about how to go about mental health issues.
Yeah. First of all, I have to disclaim that I'm not a mental health expert, but you know, having a mix of ideas. What should I start with? So, for example, we've got a topic which is quite trending currently regarding the LDC, the Low Development Center in Uganda, and the pass rates and so on and so forth. Inevitably, such issues suddenly cause mental health issues. But in my own opinion, you know, of course not from an expert opinion, first of all, you've got to know what are your coping mechanisms. Do you perhaps need to take a year out? Do you, for example, one of my coping mechanisms is sleep, you know, and for those who are Christians, it could be prayer. You know, if you believe in Buddhism, it could be yoga. I think that's a Buddhist practice. It could be talking to your friend, it could be talking to your girlfriend, it could be, you know, talking to your parents, and so on. So need to find out your coping mechanism. But more importantly, it's important to seek professional help when things are really going bad, because these professionals, for example, counselors, are bound to have information as confidential. So if they share it, then they'll be breached, and that could be trouble to them. And also encourage universities. I think they do have counselors, but also there needs to be a well-being sort of a department or something like that. Because, for example, at my university, my outgoing university, if you fail, they can send you an email and they refer you. We know the results of it. It could not have been bad for some, good for some of you. So we refer you to a mental health practitioner. So regarding mental health, that's one. Seek help, ask for help. But more importantly, have hope. Hope is very important. You know, it sounds like an idealistic kind of thing, but it's important to have hope. And also it's important, look at the past paper questions. Where did you go wrong? Because when you get to find out your mistakes, consult the lecturers. Where did you go wrong? Then you know, because you cannot see the picture when you're in the frame. You need someone else to give you feedback on what you've done, and then be willing to change, be willing to learn, to become better. You know, try and find the solution to your challenge from
Yes.
Yeah, so those few things, coping mechanisms, have hope, but also get feedback so that you can do better. But yeah, have hope. Hope is very important.
If I can just add one more thing.
Sure.
You see, one thing I realized about life is that actually law school is a reflection of life to me in certain aspects, because if you look at the way life is structured, it's more like an uphill battle. It's more like you keep pushing a rock up a hill. So in life, we need to learn how to be flexible, because I started out in law school with very, very brilliant students. And in first year, second year, they used to pass, they used to excel highly. But along third year, fourth year, the way they used to see life and the way now things were getting a bit harder, they were not able to adjust in a flexible manner. So in this life, I would advise most of you viewers who are watching this, I would like you to understand that in life, you need to be flexible. Likewise in law school, because in first year, second year, you're going to meet subjects which are core subjects. But in third year, fourth year, you're going to end up meeting procedural subjects. For example, I can say in first, second year, we used to do things like negligence and strict liability. These are basically cores to help you understand and to better your understanding of the law. But in third year, fourth year, you now get into procedural subjects. For example, in third year, we used to do criminal procedure. Then we used to do evidence. These are procedures that enable you to go through the court kind of system. In fourth year, we now do civil procedure. There are even land transactions. So in life, it teaches you how to be flexible. In your mind, you shouldn't only stick to one idea of life. personally, when I began this YouTube channel, many people used to tell me that, you know what, Terry, this is not going to work out. Lawyers are conservative people. People are so rigid when it comes to the law, and you may get issues with law council. You may get issues with Uganda Law Society, and even LDC may ban you from studying. But then I still took the chance, and Kato, like you had said earlier, it's good to be bold, because boldness comes with flexibility. If an obstacle is put your way, you need to find a way around the obstacle. So that's what I would also say about law school. You need to be flexible in life. If a plan that you had didn't work out, there's always plan B and C.
Also, just a few things that I probably could have forgot. So in my own experience, I don't really have examples of people who have faced past mental health problems. I think it is because most of this information is held as confidential, unless you've got a friend who's disclosed to you that they're going through such a situation. I guess there are people who perhaps could have dropped along the way in law school, but I don't have access to that information. I think because of the confidentiality, unless you've got a friend who is particularly disclosed to you, which I haven't had a chance to, so I can't really comment on that extensively. But also regarding being bored, my understanding of being bored in this law context is that at times you get to do an essay questions when you don't know how you're going to do it. And what I tell myself is, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And you go ahead and do it. Eventually you'll find a way. You might have millions of quite a couple of things to read, and you've got very little examination time to prepare for them. And
yes,
I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And the other key point, I think, as we summarize, I think probably our time to be running out. Planning is very, very important. For me, my strategy, exam preparation, planning. It's very important to plan. I know I tend to be very structured. I get to plan for each hour, each day, especially in my exam period. You won't achieve 100% of the plan, but you might achieve 50% of it. But then when you have a plan, you know which question to revise to, on what day, what questions have got the most marks. It's a strategy, because then you the low mark questions, then you're not working strategically. So if you plan things through, planning takes time, but it is Brian Tracy that says that when you spend 1 minute in planning, you save 10 minutes in execution. So planning is really, really incredibly important. It might take time, but when you get to execute, you're executing strategically, you're executing something that is going to help you. So planning is maybe that's a last and key point that I could add on to that.
I don't know, have we left out anything? Because these are not past law school. Kato, is there anything you would like to say to the viewers more? Maybe before we wrap up?
Yeah, in the parting words, I would say, law school, first of all, be bold. Don't be afraid. Be bold, go for it. If it's your dream, you want to achieve it, and you've got strength that can help you achieve it, be bold, go for it, and you'll get there. I mean, I always look and say, oh well, if someone else is a lawyer, why can't I be? Why can't I go through this law school? Meaning, if they went through it, I can also go through it. But of course, I've got respect for them, especially people who have done LDC and LPC. It's not an easy course, but you gotta be bold, because that's what you want. If you fail, that's not the end of the world. Try again. If you're discontinued, there are other routes you could have to.
And actually, before I wrap up, I would just like to say something about LDC. Is that LDC is like all the 4 years of law school combined, because it's the most difficult stage I've been through. It's very difficult, and recently our results were released, and over 1,600 in the entire LDC year who were admitted, but only 350 students were discontinued. Meaning, according to LDC, the moment you fail more than 4 core course units, which are land transactions, civil procedure, criminal, then you're automatically scraped off. Personally, I excelled in all my papers except one paper, which is legal practice skills, one which is professional conduct and which I'm currently trying to sort out. But what I would say is that many people were cut off by LDC, and it's a stage that you really need to give a lot of, you need to give it your all because it's the final stage. Lot Development Center is what gives you the postgraduate diploma, and then you can push off to go and practice. Then be enrolled as an advocate. But it's a very, very critical stage that most people who are being discontinued now, they can no longer now even apply to go to LDC, meaning that they can't do the back course. So it's a stage that whoever is in law school, because this video is how to pass law school, how to go through law school and also excel at the back course. So you need to take these two stages very critically, because at LDC, they examine your knowledge of law school. So that is it.
Yeah, Terry, just before we conclude, I can't agree more with LPC. I've got friends, of course. Well, some of them failed, a couple of them.
Yeah.
You know, and they have a chance to do them, which is an incredibly great thing. But the key comment that I was lucky enough to pass all my core modules, at least in the first half, and hopefully, you know, the second half as well. The results will come out okay. But the key thing is that LDC, LPC, what you put in is what you get. There are no miracles.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. I really loved this meeting. I've loved. I don't know, viewers. I've really loved speaking to you. I'm glad that I've hosted Mr. Katumpanga Christopher. He's a very good friend of mine. He as well has a YouTube channel, and he's more of an inspirational talker. He speaks spiritual talk, and maybe before you sort of, you could also tell us about your YouTube channel. What do you offer so that the viewers can also go to your channel?
Yeah, so I did my YouTube channel in a way that it accommodates everyone from every field, from everywhere. It's an inspirational and educative YouTube channel. Release videos every month. So things like focus, commitment, time. It's basic principles to help us succeed, help myself succeed, that can cut across law school, medical school, and everything. But I must thank you very much, Terry, for giving me the opportunity to talk about the YouTube channel, and for giving me the chance to be hosted on your channel and to share ideas with your viewers. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So as we wrap up this video, I'd just like to let you know that
I forgot to say,
anyone.
Sorry, the YouTube name is Katumpanga. Basic. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and thank you so much for joining us in Simply Legal. And viewers, if there's anything you would like me to talk about in a future video, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Feel free to hit the comment section. Tell us what you thought about this video, and also tell us what you thought about a future video. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you for having me.